Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
obrigada. Obrigada.
Oh.
All right, cool. All right. So, next up, we're gonna have Keaton Fisher, who is the founder of Imagination and the Groovy Grove. He also has Lance with him. Hi, Lance.
Lance, partner in crime.
Cool. Partner. So Imagination is an organization for people who imagine a better world and wish to work collectively to help bring about lasting change. And I met Keaton about 2 years ago. He's out of Homewood, Illinois, which is just south of Chicago. And I'll let Keaton tell you about how he started the Groovy Grove, because it's just amazing community effort and showing what happens when you have conversations and you talk to your neighbor and you make those connections. So yeah, Keaton, can you tell us about the founding of the Grove?
Sure, yeah, I could take that on over for you. I'm gonna turn the video around. We're gonna take a stroll to the garden as I kind of illustrate this for you. But yeah, the Groovy Grove Gratitude Garden has been established now for about 4 years. We started it as a collective effort that has sort of spun in different ways. People have come and gone, but we're still trying to keep the garden going strong. But when we first started, I have been inspired to do a community garden by this website called shareable.net, where they have all of these different ideas for DIY, shareable, whatever you can imagine, tool sheds and community gardens, and really just so many different ideas on how we can all work together in order to provide for each other the type of lives we want to live, and also taking care of the planet that we're on, you know? So basically, once I was inspired by that, I found someone who was also looking to create a community garden, and I really got the bug to go out there and find a place where we could plant. And our park district didn't really give us much help. Our village didn't give us much help. So I started looking around, and I noticed in my backyard, after having cleared out that path over here, that there was this big open piece of land. And I went around talking to all my neighbors, asking them who owned this piece of property, and finally found out who it was. I got to meet all my neighbors in the process. It was a really awesome experience. And then the woman who owns it, her name is Lori. She's one of the most gracious neighbors you can ever have. And she allotted me this back 2,000 square feet in order to create a community garden. And I just asked her, like, hey, can we do this? And it used to be a bunch of kids that live back here. And since then, most of the families have grown up and new kids are starting to move in. And the space was something that they would play games. And that's why they never planted trees back here. But from that, now where all the kids are out and about, I figured that this would be a good way for us to try to learn how to do something together as a community, because as you're saying, we're not in a bubble. Everybody is influenced by everything that's going on in the world today. And as individuals, there's not really much any one of us can do to change the tides of things that we don't like to see. But as a community, we have a lot more availability, a lot more power in our voices and our actions. You know, just with working with Lance, I went from doing projects that, only one person could do, to now we're transforming backyards. And so it's like the more people that we're able to get together to work in concert, the more change we're able to create. One analogy I like to use is the idea of magnetism. Some metals are not magnetic until they're magnetized. And when you magnetize a metal, that the only difference is not in what the actual makeup of the metal is, but it's just that the atoms are all in alignment, and therefore it creates this like extra power and strength that wasn't there before. And so the community garden, although it just is a community garden, it was also an idea for just bringing people together to work, through work and play, figuring out how each one of us gets along, how we live our lives. Then we're able to orient ourselves to one another in a way where we can make larger, lasting change. So that's really what was some of the foundational aspects of Imagination Foundation and the Groovy Grove and the Gratitude Garden. So the basic principles, you know, of those three things are: the Groovy Grove is a place where, like new pathways, when we all walk over the same path, it creates these footsteps, right? And eventually it wears a groove into the ground. And the same happens with your neural pathways in your brain. The more we do things, the more we train to do things over and over again, then it becomes easier to do them. So we all need support in learning those new grooves and getting to do it the first time, like learning to ride a bike. And so in the Groovy Grove, we all support each other to learn how to do new things. And then the Gratitude Garden is an expression of the natural abundance of the universe. So we've been taught through finance and money and currency that there is an artificial scarcity to the way life is, when in reality there is an abundance of materials and resources which have been hoarded in one way or another, or made unavailable. And through the use of money specifically, I believe, we have viewed even more unemployment than just people not being able to work. There's buildings sitting vacant, there's lots sitting vacant, there's tools sitting silent in the shed. And so we really, when we're talking about zero waste and coming back to that idea, it's like we have to consider even those things, those potentials that could be put to use. The people that are sitting on their couches looking for some way to participate in this change, but maybe they don't want to protest. Maybe they want to do something different. Maybe they have something creative they want to express in one way or another. And so we just want to be able to create connections and networks of people who are on that wavelength, that want to see change but really don't know where to begin. And at a certain level, you just got to go out there and find a team and make a community, or find your community and connect with them and see who's out there doing those things already. We're going to be connecting with all types of farms around the South Side. Most of this food is going to go to the community, and then we're obviously going to have more than we can even handle. So we're going to be taking it to places where people are in need, knowing full well that what's coming up for us after so much crops have gone to rot in fields across the country, and I'm sure around the world, that people just need support right now, and we have the ability to do so. And it's a little bit extra work, maybe not much money in response, but the what is the value of beauty is something that I'm always considering. It's like, is everything that you do have to be for money, or can we do something just for the love of it, just because we want to do it? So that's a basic rundown. I know there's a lot to that, and every bit of that can be broken down even farther, but in 10 minutes, I think that's as well as I can probably distill it down.
That's beautiful. In 10 minutes, you captured everything in 10 minutes. And that's why I love you, Keaton, and you're
Thank
magical.
you
You
so
make
much,
magic.
Maria.
Yeah. And I'm going to be in Chicago tomorrow.
Yes, so come on out.
Coming. I'm bringing Owen. He still has Keaton. He talked about zero waste, toys that everyone stockpiles. He gave away his childhood toys, and Owen, my son, he still walks around with the shark that you gave him. It's still one of his favorite toys.
Yeah, yes. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, that's another thing with zero waste. I get called a hoarder, and because I don't want to let anything go. But as soon as I know it's going to a good home, it's out of my house. That's the only reason I'm holding on to it, because I don't want it to go to a landfill. I don't want it to just sit in someone's garage. If it's gonna sit in someone's garage, I guess it could sit in mine, and then eventually I'm gonna find someone who, is looking for something to go in their home. So
cool. Well, thank you. And it's just beautiful seeing the work, and with all the images that we're, a lot of us are getting on social media. you know, to see this beautiful green space and, you know, I don't know, the older gentleman, the older white
Oh,
gentleman.
Ken, yeah. Hey, Ken, wave to
Yeah,
the folks
it's
at
like,
home.
yeah, it was just cool to see that. Like, oh yes, we're neighbors. We build together. We work together. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
very
and then really the
cool.
garden has brought us all together. My mom didn't know
Yeah,
anybody back here until I started doing this. There was a forest, the place where we passed across the path where back over here, right when we were walking over here, that was like basically a little mini forest, and I cut down all those trees and created a path into someone else's backyard so that I could do this garden. And so far, all it's done is connect us together more, which is a beautiful thing. And I can't wait for more and more people to get involved. I really got to get all my messaging right and get some videos and pictures and get it all out there, because we're looking to create I call it a farm army family, a farmily, so we can get out here and create as much change as we possibly can. You know, there's so much to be done, so much work to be done, so many people that are looking for something to do, and somehow we need to connect those two, because right now money, in my mind, you know, is not making those ends meet. And that's what economics is supposed to be about, is getting resources into people's hands in order to make everybody feel like they're a capable and prosperous and creative human being.
yeah. I'm with it. All right. Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Yeah, on to the next one, whoever is up next.
Article.
Oh, I also wanted to say thank you to Rodrigo and Sabrina. That was great stuff. I can't wait to use that myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lance is also on board. We're gonna put that to use right away. We're gonna get our pictures on Facebook as soon as possible.
Cool. Look at us inspiring each other. Cool. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. All right. So,